We're taking a hard, definitive look at the apex predator that absolutely ruled our oceans for 19 million years, the Megalodon. We're going to use the absolute latest data to deconstruct the myth, rebuild the actual monster, and find out what really happened to it. Okay, let's dive right in.
It's the ultimate question, isn't it? Could the largest shark in history still be hiding somewhere in the deep? And honestly, it's a totally fair question. After all, we constantly hear that statistic that we've only properly explored about 5% of our oceans. If 95% of the marine world is still a total mystery to us, how can we be absolutely certain that a prehistoric leviathan isn't just lurking down in some dark, unvisited trench? It's a fascinating thought experiment, and it's exactly why these internet rumors catch fire so easily.
And this perfectly illustrates why the myth just refuses to die. Just think about all the viral evidence we've been fed over the years. Back in 1918, Australian fishermen literally swore they saw a shark up to 300 feet long stealing their lobster pots. Then in 2013, there's that wildly popular documentary showing a heavily mutilated blue whale carcass off Hawaii, claiming a massive shark was responsible. Millions of people believed it, totally missing the tiny disclaimer at the start admitting the footage was faked and the scientists were actors. Even as recently as 2022, local news in Boston reported mega shark sightings that just turned out to be regular basking sharks. It is so easy to see why we get caught up in the hype. But to find the real story, we have to strip away the viral clips and look at the hard science.
Section 1. 200 Years of Mistakes.
So here's the crazy thing about the Megalodon. When it vanished roughly 3.6 million years ago, it left almost nothing behind. That's because a shark skeleton is made of soft cartilage, literally the exact same tissue in your nose and ears, which almost never fossilizes. By looking only at the giant teeth that did survive, early scientists made a seemingly logical leap. They assumed it was just a supersized great white. But modern researchers realized they had completely botched three fundamental questions. 1, lineage, who was it actually related to? 2, body shape, how was it built? And 3, true size, just how massive did it get? Brand new 2025 research has completely rewritten the answers to all three. Let's tackle them one by one. Let's kick things off with mistake number 1, its family tree. For well over a century, scientists thought the great white was the Megalodon's direct descendant. But when we actually compare their teeth side by side, the differences are glaring. In the early 2000s, scientists realized the serrations, those little jagged edges, on a great white's tooth are irregular and triangular. But the Megalodons, they are much finer and rounder. There is zero overlap. In 2019, Megalodon was officially kicked out of the great white's family tree and placed into its own extinct lineage called Odontadia. To put that into perspective for you, Megalodon and the great white are only about as closely related as a human is to a lemur. Which brings us to mistake number 2, the body shape. If you picture a Megalodon right now, you're probably imagining a stocky, tank-like great white, just blown up to epic proportions. But a massive 2025 international study led by paleobiologist Dr. Kenshu Shimada changed absolutely everything. His team analyzed the most complete Megalodon fossil ever found, a vertebral column from Belgium. They ran the math, comparing its proportions against 165 different shark species, and it proved it wasn't a thick bulldozer at all. As Dr. Shimada noted, it was sleeker. It was more elongated, with a flatter jaw, a shorter snout, and extraordinarily long pectoral fins. It was shaped much more like a modern lemon shark.
Section 2. Rebuilding the True Leviathan.
Okay, so we've got a completely different family tree and a totally different body shape. Now it's time to correct mistake number 3. Once Dr. Shimada's team mapped out those sleeker, more elongated proportions, they had to recalculate how big this predator actually got. They plugged a single 9-inch wide Megalodon vertebrae found in Denmark into their brand new mathematical model. The result they got is staggering. 80 feet. That is the upper limit of the true Leviathan's length. That is literally more than 3 times the length of the absolute largest great white ever recorded. It means Megalodon wasn't just the largest shark in history, it was one of the largest animals to ever exist on the face of the earth, stretching to a length that seriously rivals the modern blue whale. And the sheer mass of this animal is equally terrifying. At 80 feet long, the upper end estimates suggest a fully grown Megalodon could weigh around 94 tons. Just pause and think about that scale for a second. 94 tons. We had been dramatically underestimating its size for decades simply because we were using the wrong blueprints. Now, how on earth do you sustain a 94-ton body? Well, the numbers are mind-blowing. A T-Rex, famously one of history's hardest biters, clocked in around 12,800 pounds of force. Megalodon maxed out at roughly 40,000 pounds. It didn't just bite through bone, it bit right through whales.
And it absolutely had to. A fully grown megalodon needed to consume about 2,500 pounds of food every single day. That is the equivalent weight of a small car. It dominated the oceans by hunting whales, dolphins, and giant sea turtles. Basically, anything big enough to fuel that massive biological engine.
But honestly, perhaps the scariest thing about Megalodon is how it started its life. Newborn Megalodons didn't start small at all. They were born at 12 to 13 feet long, meaning they were already the size of a fully grown great white on day one. How did they get so huge in the womb? Through a brutal process called oophagy, the developing embryos would actually eat the unfertilized eggs and possibly even each other inside the mother before they were even born. It was literally survival of the fittest from day one. By the time they hit the water, they were instantly apex predators.
Section 3. Could it be hiding?
So we have this widespread 80-foot, 94-ton, car-eating predator that dominated the globe. Could something that insanely powerful really just vanish? Or could it be hiding out in the Mariana Trench, an abyss plunging 7 miles down into pitch darkness? Well, fuel was really added to this fire back in 1873 when the HMS Challenger pulled up megalodon teeth near the trench dating back only 11,000 to 24,000 years. Geologically speaking, that is practically yesterday. But did they find proof of a modern deep-sea megalodon? Absolutely not. Those teeth weren't fresh at all. They were just exceptionally well preserved by something called a manganese dioxide crust. This thick chemical coating naturally formed over the teeth on the deep-sea floor, perfectly protecting them and dramatically slowing their decomposition. Megalodon never lived in the trench. Its teeth just fell down there over millions of years and got locked in this crazy chemical time capsule. But people still love to argue, hey, what about the coelacanth? You know, that prehistoric fish we thought died with the dinosaurs until we suddenly found it alive and swimming in 1938? If the coelacanth can hide, why can't the megalodon? Well, this comparison cleanly shuts that myth down for good. The coelacanth is just 6 feet long, barely eats anything, and naturally thrives in dark, deep water. Megalodon was 80 feet long, needed a literal ton of meat every single day, and raised its young in warm, shallow, sunlit coastal waters. An animal that massive, hunting right near the surface, simply cannot hide. We would see it. We would definitely see the half-eaten whale carcasses washing up on the beach. It is definitively 100% extinct.
Section 4. The Real Megalodon Killer.
Which brings us to the ultimate cold case. If it's truly gone, what took it out? People used to assume the ocean cooled down and the megalodon basically froze to death. But it turns out it could actually regulate its own body temperature. It survived in highly diverse waters for 19 million years, so the cold alone didn't do it. The real killer was a catastrophic food collapse. About 3.6 million years ago, during the Pliocene epoch, 36% of all large marine species just vanished. Look at that staggering 55% drop in marine mammals. The whales, the dolphins, the giant sea turtles, the exact prey Megalodon relied on for its massive daily calorie intake, were wiped out as coastal habitat shifted and sea levels wildly fluctuated. Megalodon's food supply essentially evaporated into thin air. And into that desperate, starving gap stepped the great white shark. The ocean had become a completely scarce, highly competitive environment. The great white didn't overpower the megalodon. It outmaneuvered it. It was smaller, it was leaner, and crucially, it required a mere fraction of the food to survive. It was biologically efficient, perfectly built for an ocean where calories were suddenly an absolute luxury. It is a tragic irony, captured so perfectly in this quote. Megalodon's size, its greatest advantage, became its greatest liability. It was simply too huge to adapt to a world with less food. But its death changed the world forever. Without this 80-foot super predator ruthlessly hunting them down, modern whales finally had the freedom to evolve and grow. The massive blue whales we have today likely owe their very existence to the extinction of the megalodon. We've spent 200 years studying thousands of scattered teeth to piece together this incredible story. Yet, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, lingering thought. We have never, not once, found a complete megalodon skeleton. Everything we know is a brilliant, mathematically driven reconstruction, which really makes you wonder, if an 80-foot, 94-ton apex predator can vanish, leaving almost no physical trace behind, what other massive secrets has the ocean swallowed whole? Keep wondering, keep learning, and I'll catch you